guys, it's Ty Brown with the Millennial Group. Today's video, we're going to talk about some of the market trends that we noticed at the end of last year, December 2025, and we're going to dive into some of the statistics related to new listing activity, pending sale activity, closed sale activity, months of inventory, in addition to just year-to-date summaries as to how property values were impacted due to the volatility that we all know is existing in real estate in this day and age. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead, dive into the statistics and what all of that information will mean. Let's get started. All right, so there is absolutely no doubt that real estate last year was an interesting time. Some of the things that I've noticed and experienced is that there were more homes coming on the market overall, I feel, as compared to like previous years, which is great. We definitely need more inventory. We definitely need an abundance of homes to kind of help soften what people feel may not be in an affordable housing market. Now, we're not at a place where we have a whole lot of homes to choose from, but we certainly have a lot more than previous years. And what I noticed is that, and what most people who are in this market day in and day out have noticed, is that at the December 2025, we saw some interesting movement or lack thereof than we probably would have seen in previous years. And what I mean by that, for an example, is that the new listings that went onto the market in December 2025 actually decreased almost 6% as compared to December 2024. We had 1,068 less new listings hit the market in December. And, you know, to be frank, I wasn't completely shocked when I saw that data, because I mean, like I say, I'm in the market day in and day out and helping buyers, I'm helping sellers in the Portland metropolitan area. And it's my job to consistently kind of take a look and see what inventory is looking like, so that way I can properly advise my clients as to what necessary steps they need to take in order to ensure that their real estate goals are getting accomplished. And so when I saw that data after living in that in real time, I was like, okay, not completely shocked, but also wanted a different outcome. As for pending sales, what we saw is a 6.9% decrease in accepted offers as compared to December of 2024. And, you know, same scenario, not necessarily surprised. We definitely felt a much slower December this year in terms of just the number of activities, the number of showings taking place in our listings. And, you know, I feel like due to just not only the exotic things that are happening in our market specifically, but macroeconomically speaking, you know, the United States as a whole, we're experiencing such interesting times. And in the financial markets, we're also, you know, in regard to like interest rate and housing prices, it really is an interesting time. And so there are a lot less buyers that feel confident about their ability to buy a home. Therefore, that is naturally going to impact the number of transactions going under contract. But overall, it's not end all to be all. It's just not as hot as, you know, what we have seen in previous years. And frankly, I think that is a big jump from last year. I mean, we had 1,300 offers accepted, 1,300 more offers accepted last year, or 2024, than we had experienced in December of 2025. So that is something you want to pay attention to, and that's something we definitely have been paying attention to here at the Millennial Group. We're really trying to understand like what are the buyer's sentiment and the buyer's behavior and the buyer's mindset around the Portland metropolitan market, how that's impacting property values and how that's impacting ultimately our sellers' bottom line. But what's interesting is that with closed sales, we actually saw an increase, a 6.5% increase of sales closing in December of 2025. And ultimately, those are probably more than likely pending sales from November of 2025 that closed in December, because in residential real estate, the average transaction timeline is 30 days, right? So though a lot of that probably had to come from, you know, those November transactions that went pending. So we had 1,500 more closings in December 2025 than we did in December 2024. So that's great news, you know, because there are a few times, full transparency, where we've had listings in December that would go under contract, but they said they just didn't close for one reason or another. And so it's good to see that that data is kind of supporting, like, yes, let's close, let's move on, let's make this deal happen, right? Now, months of inventory, which basically means, if you're not aware, the number of inventory in any given market at any given time. So to sweeten that a little bit, months of inventory was 2.9 months in December of 2025. So what that means is, if we were to stop putting homes on the market in December, we would only have about 3 months worth of real estate to sell before we're completely dried out of inventory. Now, 3 months of inventory is technically what we would still classify in ordinary terms as a seller's market. Whereas, you know, anything 6 months and below, they would say is a seller's market. 6 months is more stable, and 6 months and above will be deemed as a buyer's market, right? But here's the thing that's really interesting about that particular statistic. In any other market, I totally would agree with that statement. I would say, oh my God, we have 3 months of inventory. The market's really hot. Homes are flying off the market. A lot of homes are selling for over list price. It's 3 months of inventory. So it's a hot market, and buyers, you better strap up your bootstraps and get serious about writing these offers. But unfortunately, in a market like this, if you're a seller, that's not necessarily the case. What that is basically showing us is that, yes, we do have a little bit more inventory than the previous years. Like in 2024, in December, we had 2.7 months of inventory. And in the year in 2023, in December, we had 2.7 months of inventory as well. So we have a little bit more inventory this year, or in the end of last year, I should say, because hello, we're in 2026. However, it doesn't necessarily feel like a seller's market, does it? Like, it doesn't feel like a super hot market. Now, I want to kind of I don't want to generalize, because some neighborhoods are doing better than others, and some price points are certainly doing better than others, especially if it's in a really nice neighborhood and it's competitively priced. That home more than likely will fly off the market and more than likely still see multiple offers. But that is not a common theme in 2025. But we still have, in December of 2025, under 3 months of inventory, but it doesn't feel hot. So what does that mean, right? It means that homes are standing on the market longer. Yes, we also saw that listings went on the market in December 2025, a whopping 1,068 to be exact. And we're seeing that buyers are really being cautious and taking their time when they're making a decision as to what homes they're going to put on an offer, right? So I find this market to be a very interesting market for that reason, for just based on that statistic alone. You know, under 6 months of inventory, but it feels like a buyer's market. And it kind of is. I mean, if you think about it, for the most part, in a lot of neighborhoods in the Portland metropolitan area, we're seeing a lot of homes, like I said, staying on the market longer. We're seeing a lot of homes selling for under list price, and we're seeing a lot of homes that are offering concessions to buyers in order to get the deal done. And oftentimes we're seeing all three scenarios happening, right, in order to get that deal done. It's not necessarily one or the other. It's like all three of those scenarios combined into one to get that closing. So what that means to me is that, you know, oftentimes in the Portland Metro and even in Southwest Washington, I'm trying to keep these videos separate. But you know, Southwest Washington is just over the bridge. But what I want to really kind of emphasize is that buyers are very, very much informed these days, especially if they have a really good real estate professional on their side to kind of educate them on what's happening in the neighborhoods they want to move into. They're doing their research, they're getting the right guidance, and they're understanding, like, hey, I can probably 9 times out of 10 or perhaps 8 times out of 10 really negotiate this and maybe get a less purchase price, or maybe get some kind of concession, or, you know, whatever term that they feel they really need in order to get the deal done. If it's not multiple people writing offers on it at the same time. So I say all of that to say and to set the right expectations for both buyers and sellers and what this market still means. We're only in January, and frankly, January right now is not much different than 20 days ago. And if you are thinking about getting into the market, whether you're a buyer or a seller, really take this information into consideration so that you can best plan your real estate strategy to have the best outcome for you. I think it's very, very important to understand that and take this data into consideration. Now, total market time did increase to 81 days, so an extra 9 days as compared to November of 2025. So more days on market in December of last year, an extra 9 days on market for most homes. And it's compared to last year, there's an extra 7 days that homes were sitting on the market. Or not last year, sorry, December 2024. As compared to December 2024, homes are on the market an extra 7 days. Gosh, I keep forgetting, guys, we're in 2026. And finally, the last topic or statistic I want to touch on is the average and median sales price. We didn't see a huge whopping increase in property values last year. Now if we're comparing 2025 to 2024 through December, the average sales price just increased 0.6%. So it went from $608,000 to $612,000. And in that same comparison, what we saw for the median sales price increased 1.1%. So property values went from $543,000 to $549,000. So did homes appreciate? Yes, they did. Was it a substantial amount of appreciation in 2025? No. And all of that is due to, buyers, again, sentiment about home affordability in this market, interest rates, just the uncertainty that's going on in the world right now. I mean, we have so many things that are going on, and I try not to talk about them in these videos so that I can avoid getting political. I don't think it's appropriate for me to do that, but we all understand what's happening in the world today and how that's impacting every individual market. And like I said, some markets are better than others. Some neighborhoods are performing better than others, and some homes are performing better than others, despite the macro and microeconomic activities that are taking place. But all of that is to say, if you guys are thinking about getting into the market, please do your due diligence and make sure you guys are working with a real estate broker that really understands what is going on in today's market, because it's not an ordinary market, right? Just off of based on what I said before, our months of inventory statistic is showing us that technically we're in a seller's market, but we all know and feel that we're not. And that really takes a real estate agent that is actively doing the work day in and day out and seeing the market trends and seeing the buyer behaviors and seeing the seller behaviors, because that's also important too if you're a buyer, understanding where sellers are coming from and how they're feeling and how that will impact your ability to get into your next home. You want to work with someone that understands the common themes in this market, because again, it is not an ordinary market. It really is not. And it's going to take a lot of patience. It's going to take really good strategies, whether you're buying or selling, right? It's not 2020, it's not 2021 anymore. Things are not flying off the shelf, and it's going to take having realistic expectations and having an advocate that is willing to be upfront and honest with you about the situation that we're in today. Before I end this, I want to give a really, really prime example of what I mean by that. I had really, really great seller who I adore so much. And we were talking about me listing their home, and they wanted to get a certain price. I won't say what that price is, but the home is, worth more, over $1 million. It's in the $1 million price range. And I decided that, after having that conversation and letting them know, hey, here's where the market's at for a home like yours. And this is where we need to be in order for us to have a successful outcome. And, they didn't like what they heard, obviously, because, who would? If you want to make a move. And the reality is how that situation or how that conversation went was, and I tell everyone I come in contact with, I don't take listings just to get listings. I take listings that I follow the data and I pay attention to the data. And If a seller wants to work with that data so we can have a successful outcome, then great. And if not, then, you know, I love you so much, but I don't want to be the one to disappoint you. I don't. One thing I'm really, really good at is pricing a home. I toot my own horn about that, and I will consistently do that. And, you know, I don't want to be the one to set someone up for failure, nor do I want to disappoint anyone and potentially damage a relationship just off of something as simple as that. So, you know, I said, hey, you know, I understand you want to price your home $400,000. Yeah, $400,000 over where the market would support, but I'm not that girl to do that. And, you know, if you find another broker to do that, and they did, power to you. I'm happy to keep in touch. I'm happy to love you, but I can't be the one to put you in that position where you're going to be sitting on the market for a very, very long time and then eventually get fed up. And I've been there when I first started into real estate, right? Like, because I really wanted to show that, you know, I care and all of that, but you show someone that you care by telling them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. So I'm going to end this video by saying, like, find someone that is going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, and who really values having the integrity and values their fiduciary responsibility that they will have for you and lead you down the right path to get you to that successful outcome. Because again, can't express this enough, this is not an ordinary market. Should any of you have any questions, I am all ears, happy to listen, hear you vent, hear your concerns, and then give you the appropriate solutions. So do not hesitate to call me with any questions. Feel free to text me, email, whatever works best for you. I will be sure to give you the answers that you all need so you can make the best informed decision for your real estate goals, your real estate portfolios, and your life. This is not a simple task. I want to thank all of you for taking the time to watch this video if you've gotten this far, and I look forward to sharing more real estate market statistics, tips, and tricks to get you on the next phase of your life when it comes down to real estate. Until next time.